jump to fly, high, high, high. Standing on the edge while you're looking down, flying down on the ground just to find out. You fly so fly, don't ya? Keep riding skies, won't ya? Standing on the edge while you're looking down, flying down on the ground just to find out. You fly so fly, don't ya? Keep riding skies. To yourself, to there, just try to open up and show someone you care. It might not be intentional, but you seem scared. Just try to open up and let it lead somewhere. Breathe in some love and let yourself unfold. Breathe in some love and let yourself unfold. Breathe in some love and let yourself unfold. Breathe in some love.
Good morning, everybody. The Grasshoppers Rugby Club looks an absolute picture on postcard. Perfect weather here this morning in West London. The London invite continues into the bracket. It is finals day and we are starting with a women's semi-final matchup for you. Yaka from Noisy-le-Sec, just on the suburbs of Paris, against Dublin's Gravity. Benjamin Rees in the booth with you bright and early again this morning. Delighted to be joined for the first time this weekend by Magnus Wilson. Morning, Mag.
Good morning, thanks Benji. Looking forward to a really exciting game in the women's division. Absolutely perfect weather, as Benji said, so hopefully some really high quality stuff to be on show in a few minutes.
Yeah, there maybe is kind of a slight breath of wind, but nothing more than a suggestion, really. You could not ask for better conditions here on a on the artificial surface here. We've got kind of 3 grass pitches behind us oriented perpendicular to this one, but it kind of doesn't matter which way they are with no wind because it's not upwind, downwind or all cross. It's pretty still, and as yeah, I think you feel like these should be conditions where offenses are on top. Yaka, as always, very loud and vocal as they break their huddle. Trying to keep those spirits high. Yaka have opted to use their results for the EUCS rankings this event. Gravity have not, because they are kind of still working some things out, getting kind of more live game reps for some players, getting the opportunity to try and work things out as they still aim for EUCF at the end of the season. And it's going to look like Gravity are starting on defense because Anya Gilhini has strode towards the end zone, disc in hand. Where do you stand on the whether you start on O or D?
I think almost always you start on O unless the weather is atrocious. I think you've got to back the quality of your offensive players to put those points in and not give away an early break.
I'm with you on that one. Paul's just going to land in bounds, and Mondio feels to Matthias. Out in front of the Dane, Knudsen. Down the line and off the hand. Was looking to find Delaunay. It's going to give Gravity an early break opportunity here. Anya Gilhini's going to stride to the sideline, being marked by Maria Castillo, once of Gravity herself. Looking for a little bit of support. Able to create some space off that sideline. Pichot swinging. Gravity operating with a horizontal setup to start, after mainly going vertical yesterday. Flynn to Gilheeney. Going for the scuba, and Delaunay got a piece of it, but foul called there by Doyle. I mean, this is trademark Gilheeney, really. Any opportunity to go into the bag of tools and pull something a little bit more creative out. Accepted foul as the result. Mondio just sitting in that lane a little bit. Taking the reset a little bit dicey, but kept alive. Now behind Gilheeney, but she gathers and rips deep. Had that connection with Merkin. And now in the red zone, Doyle, often a finisher for this Gravity side, resetting back to Flynn. Gilheeney tries to muscle her way down the line, and Mondio gets a hand into stuff on the fourth. The end zone offense just looked a little bit reticent, I think, to try and get those cuts in.
Yaka doing a great job of stifling anything easy in the underspace.
That throw down the line from the European Breakout Player of the Year in the women's division last year, Babikian, goes incomplete. Gilheeney again happy to take her time in striding towards the disc. They are continuing to sag off those reset handlers and force the swings. When you come up against a team who is so intent on kind of clouding those downfield lanes, how do you beat it?
You've really got to find a way to get it to the poach player on the far side of the field, or you start taking on the deep shot like that. And if you can execute those, then you'll be scoring goals.
And scoring goals is exactly what they do. Anissa Smith finds Claudia Keenan, and that is a break to start on this first point from Gravity. Just Yaka's offense never looked properly set in rhythm, and Gravity with a couple of opportunities, hitting those deep shots to open up the field and then following it up with the score. I don't think it's unfair to say that Yaka probably strong favourites for this contest, but we know how well Gravity can play when they are fully firing on all cylinders.
I think Gravity's offense needs to have a little bit of a look about how they deal with this sitting under on everything except for the far side where you have a bit of deep help. I think if they can solve that problem, it looks like they're working well in the backfield, and hopefully they'll get some joy. Fairly even contest so far as I can see.
Yeah, it remains to be seen whether one side can firmly establish control in this contest or whether it will be very back and forth. The other women's semi-final is going on behind us. LMU taking on Bristol in an all-UK affair in the bottom half of the draw. Spicer taking on Sick, and it is Iceni versus Smog. First of 6 games today we've got here from London Invite. That's Tisson Fields. A little bit low, but not a problem. Munier on the sideline. Finds Portuguese star Bringel. And now Matias putting a bit of air underneath it. Looking long, beautiful put. Right in stride for Jean Delaval. And that is a nice clean hold there for Yaka. Tended to split their lines a little bit. But that time they found a connection that worked. And it was a really well-judged deep shot from Matias down this near sideline.
Yeah, Gravity coming out with what looked like an arrowhead zone or maybe just some sags in the lane. Didn't really slow Yaka down at all, and they just ripped through the defense there.
Nice shape on the backhand, put down the line, just taking it back into the receiver's path, and Matias there showing why she's been such a weapon, not just for Yaka but also for the French mixed side that captured gold at EUC last campaign and are just coming off a windmill silver medal, having got all the way to the final, only to be bested by the Tokai Super Team once they got there. And here is someone who was playing for that Super Team, Maria Castillo, on the pull. We get a first chance to see a Gravity O-line, but neither of these sides bringing the largest rosters here this week, so there will be a lot of switching and players pulling double duty. Kavanagh to Pugh. Centering option. Sutherland trying to squeeze it down the line. Oh my goodness, that was cluttered, I'll call it, and Bocanegra almost got clattered. And she's going to have to take an injury sub. It's nice to see Bocanegra not wearing the Zorro-style mask that she was donning a lot last year. You can see from the hand signals that the turnover stands look like a spacing issue there.
Yeah, definitely. I think you'd like to see the thrower recognising that you had someone coming under and going up the line there.
Castillo spears the catch in the centre. Now Rasta. Aline Mondior back to Castillo. Swinging to the Austrian Meisel. Finds Castillo again, and Castillo rips it. Zero fear ultimate as ever from Maria Castillo, and Paula Bass on the collection. They have put Yaka back on top, on serve with a Yaka break for 2-1.
Yeah, really dynamic in the backfield there and quick out of the hands on the huck. It's very hard to reposition downfield to stop that as the cutter strikes deep. So yeah, taking things quickly to really dominate the defense there.
And you see what the plan is. Again, you know, cloud the middle of the field, but Yaka taking the swing, and when Castillo's got time to really step into those hucks, there are, yeah, it's not a huge amount you can do to stop them. Bass we so often see as a distributor for Yaka, but this time timing the deep cut well off Castillo's throw. It's great to have players who, you know, you think you have a role for them and so you match up in one particular way, but they will take what you give them in a way. If you say, well, we want to get you away from the disc, Bass there, that's fine, doesn't matter, I'll time this deep cut anyway. Gilhini catches and goes downfield to Kavanagh. Zipped, but well handled by Pugh. Trying to shoot deep. The layout, spectacular from Alyssa Sutherland. But a huge playmaker for Gravity this weekend, and Sutherland, I think, maybe winded herself slightly on landing and is going to have to take an injury sub and get a well-earned rest. I thought that was going to be overthrown, but Alyssa Sutherland clearly had other ideas. Yeah, what a play.
An unbelievable grab there.
We're lucky to get the benefit of seeing it again on replay. Picture perfect form. Daly comes in off the injury sub. Now Gilhini. Thinking about the offhand, trying to get the isolation set up at the front of the end zone, but not seeing it. Going back to Pugh instead. Pugh with the high release. And excellent discipline and spacing there from the front of the end zone. Not taking the force, goes back to Pugh, and Pugh with that high release gets Daly isolated in space for 2 apiece. Felt like that end zone offense was, yeah, straight out of the playbook.
Yeah, I feel like Yaka not really sharing or doing much to try and avoid that isolation at the front which is so hard to deal with if someone just streaks into the break side. It's very easy to get that breakout, particularly on a high release. And in these windless conditions, that's always going to go.
Yeah, when it's a bit windier, yes, there's more peril about throwing those breaks. But as you say, when it's relatively still, as it is on this fine Sunday morning, those breaks are, pretty tricky.
My first experience of some technical difficulties that UltiTV seem to encounter every now and again. Totally out of their hands with someone unplugging the power to try and charge their phone, unfortunately.
I mean, is there a way to stop this? I mean, we could probably try and take things down a little bit more, or just have someone stand vigilantly by the plug and be like, every time anyone gets near. It's not as if there weren't other plugs free. I don't get why. Anyway, we've said our piece. Yaka, after giving up an early break, have, it feels, got their offensive gears turning. Now, something that's impressed me about Yaka's play this season is they've always been a side that's good at winning games, but in the past they've kind of won them in a more gritty style, but it feels like this season more than ever before, their offense has been really smooth, either when they start or after the turn.
Yeah, I think they've got a lot of players with every tool that they need. So hard to shut down when someone can be a deep threat, a good thrower, and good in the small ball as well.
Bearing down on Delaney. Breaking, leading through to space. Q now shooting. Looking. Sutherland, who we know is capable of big play, but I think Yang read that really well. You could see, almost even before that shot went up, healing up to provide the help defense. That's good switched on stuff. Nice one back to Vars. Inside through to Drucker. Now Zenz. Bocanegra. Centre to Babikian. While the sun shines, but that time Kavanagh able to step in front and slap that through intended to drop it to the floor. Ripping it, Bocanegra in coverage on Pugh, but the throw was too good, and Pugh is such a tempting target in that deep space.
Yeah, Gravity taking on the second deep shot at the point and executing that. The first one, I think it was just a little bit telegraphed and allowed Babikian to peel off. I think opening up, recognising that peel and opening up a nice under there would have been a great way to have taken them into the red zone and push it through, but they've got it back and scored the goal. So Yeah, Gravity still in this game, just I think a breakdown, and we'll need to find something now on defense to slow this Yaka team down.
Yeah, you can't give a thrower of Gilheany's quality that sort of time in these still conditions, because they're able to pretty much hit every window as well. And neither side at full strength this weekend, but still both with a lot of talent and quality on show. 4-3, please. Gravity with the pull. Yaka wasting no time in trying to get their offense in motion. High release. Hits Chiara on the far side, and then looking down, Brinjel cannot track as the throw is offline. Felt like the window was there for it.
Yeah, it was looking very smooth, just slightly overthrown.
Pichot to pick up on the turn. Yaka again, the plan is clear. We're going to allow you that lateral movement, but you're not going to get anything downfield. Well found though, with the inside break to Daly. Daly opening it up, looking for Spendlove. Catches it in front of her opposite, number 20, Delaunay. Disc is going to go back though, I think.
I saw a foul hand gesture. I'm not sure I understand that outcome if that was the case, but players seem to be happy on the field.
Yeah, it happened a couple of throws ago.
Oh, on the inside break.
Maybe a little bit of creating that separation with the offhand, I guess. Everyone's going to get back into roughly the same position. As Gravity again tried to unpick this Yaka defense. But at the moment, the Dubliners just struggling a little bit to get some downfield passes off. Flynn. With the stall count rising, pops one up, but that should be tracked down and is. I feel like the shot might be coming at some point just to get them off their own end zone line. There's the high release break. And Yaka with the second attempt. Did not want to hang about. Tisson picks up. Easy one in the end to the end zone for the score. Gravity really struggling to solve that defense.
Yeah, I like to see you taking advantage of the heads just dropping as the turnover happened and just picking up and scoring quickly. You don't want to be playing end zone offense for more time than you need to.
The turnover, it felt like a higher stall throw. I'm just going to get something out and see what we can do with it. Because Gravity had gone nowhere in a hurry. Feel like they're probably waiting too long in stall counts to move it. I think if you have that lateral movement but you get it a little bit quicker, then you'll find those players out of position a bit more, but it was quite stodgy.
Yeah, I think credit has to go to the reset defenders there for really not giving them anything easy in the backfield.
Yeah, the strategy works when you can't get those resets off, and it is forced to those high stall situations. Castillo with the pull. First pass to Kavanagh. Pugh, the floater that tempts in Bocanegra, but Pugh gunning once more. That is exactly how they want the offense to work.
Yeah, brilliant. I think Gravity are really living and dying by the deep shot at the moment, and when they're coming off, they're looking great. I really like the throw through the middle, opening up the field and gaining as many yards as possible. Really solid. I think for Yaka, need to find a way just to try and stifle that initial play, and then lock into their defense that's been so effective once they've stopped Gravity.
Yeah, Gravity are going to take a timeout here. Opportunity to maybe get something cooking defensively. We'll see what they can draw up when the London Invite returns.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with Alti TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund our
work
work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Welcome back to London Invite. It is the most glorious Sunday morning here in West London, the Grasshoppers Rugby Club. Here, the third edition of this wonderful tournament. Gravity taking a timeout, down a break here to Yaka, 5-4, the French outfit lead. Gravity coming off a timeout here. In this position, what's your defensive plan? What are you cooking up?
I think it's a difficult problem to solve. We've seen Gravity try a few different things. We saw the Arrowhead, we've seen Match. Maybe something like an FM just to slow things down, force everything through the middle, and maybe let's try and see a few more deep shots go up in the direction that Yaka are playing in now. I think that's probably something that we haven't seen them throw much yet, and I'd like to see some of the taller players on the Gravity side come down with some 50-50s in the deep space.
They'll definitely have worked out some sort of plan, because it's rare you take a timeout with this and then come out just with a traditional match defense. Side stack from Yaka. Gravity doing a good job of shutting down that initial pool play. Rising throw that Daly flashed in, but Matthias unfazed. Matthias down the line. There's the deep shot that you called for. Delaval trying to find a target in the end zone, and enough pressure applied there by Cleaner Doyle.
Yeah, Gravity getting Yaka to stall 9 on the sideline that we're closest to here, and then forcing a slightly speculative shot into the end zone, and Gravity defender just doing enough to put pressure on there.
Mounier had a chance. As again, Yaka, the game plan is clear. We are going to really sag off those second and third handler spots.
I'd like to see a little more tempo here from the backfield, just to move these sags, move the poachers out of the way, try and find something to the downfield.
I'm with you. That time, gets it in front of the flashing Hya. Now Daly getting it downfield, wanting the break. He's going to throw it just too far for Doyle. And Delaval picks off. Brinjel. Back to Delaunay. Yaka working it around the back until their offense gets set. Trying to run a 3-player dominator here. So the downfield looks very disconnected. They let their handling call go to work. Now they're able to initiate with that break side flow. Hya. Not able to find a reset, but doesn't need to, because LeBourne is burning through the open side for the score.
Yeah, I wonder if there was a wrong force in there somewhere.
That's what it looked like that at the end, didn't it? Maybe the mark, they're just getting too suckered into taking away the dump and allowing the downfield, but whatever happened, LeBourne just sprinting straight to the front cone, and I think the defender maybe just looking around a bit for thinking that they weren't quite as hot as they needed to be. And credit to LeBourne for recognising that the defender was perhaps not quite fully switched on. (6-4) Yaka lead here in this London Invite semi-final. Mixed division action up after this one. We've got Great Britain taking on Deep Space. When those two sides played yesterday, GB won a tight one, 12-10. Be interesting to see how the rematch shakes out this morning, and then into the open division where we've got a decent semi-final, haven't we?
Yeah, it should be a great game. GB playing Belgium. It's a long-standing rivalry, and I'm excited to play that one.
Yeah, I wonder. Obviously, everyone tries 100% in every game, but you know, the fact that the EUC final went the Belgians' way probably provides GB with a little bit of extra fire, not that they need it. Kavanagh back to Gulhini. Down the line, you can see there's just more dynamism this way for Gravity, but the little pop there to Pugh hits the turf.
Yeah, it's always a balance between trying to play quickly once you break through that zone and just being a little rushed.
There's that kind of old idiom of less haste, more speed. But it's a tricky tightrope to walk. Babikian. Now to Bath. They weigh up the options. Bath down the line trying to lead Meisel into space. Pugh saw it, wanted to flash in, but then had to back out to avoid the contact. And Yaka break again, 7-4, with a clean conversion. It's tough to give a side the quality of Yaka too many opportunities, because they will hit them.
Yeah, the quality of the D-line offense has been really, really strong from the Yaka team. When a defense just doesn't give it back to you as an O-line, it's very disheartening, and you've got to then walk back out and face them again. So let's hope that Gravity can bounce back and score this one. Otherwise, Yaka breaking into half, I think, might be lights out for the game.
Yeah, you feel like it would be tough. The way the cap rules work here at London Invite is that Hooter goes at 70 minutes, you finish that point, and if the score isn't tied or within one, then the game instantly ends. So more than ever in this format, you can't really afford to be letting sides get that big lead, because you have the unusual situation in Ultimate where you just ran out of time, because usually one of the great things is that you have to put that final point in, but in order to make sure that the games don't overrun, that's not quite the case here. Even if sometimes it is a bit unsatisfying and anticlimactic. It sucks when you score the last point and you lose anyway. Although I appreciate audiences across the pond might be a bit more familiar with that, with the different timing rules in the semi-pro game, along with various other different aspects of the semi-pro game that we don't need to talk about. Breyaslovets goes back to Kavanagh. The deep shot, I didn't think it had enough on it, and not quite sure that he needed the Mac at the end. For a moment I wondered if Brinjal was unintentionally going to pop that up for Pugh lurking behind her.
Yeah, you've got to get those D stats up, so may as well touch that disc. I agree with you, Benji. It does provide a little bit of a risk that it might pop up.
I don't know if I'd attribute that as a D. But I'm not on the stats for this game, so the break to LeBourne. into the centre. Brinjal getting it out quickly to Tisson and now back again. This is dynamic as, just the drop from Matthias. I think she was looking at the next pass. Maybe was expecting Sutherland to flash in front there and she didn't. Either way, from the usually immaculate Matthias, bit of a rarity. Gilheeney picks up. And Gilheeney rips it looking for Doyle. Right down the centre and cleaner Doyle with the spectacular layout grab. Gravity, to their credit, have had their fair share of big plays themselves. Looks like Doyle might be coming up a little gingerly after that, but it will feel so much better having snagged the sick layout score.
Yeah, Doyle struggling to pick up the disc or get a good read on it, and then having to lay out. But yeah, immaculate layout and hopefully nothing too serious. Maybe just sort of jamming a finger into the floor or something.
Yeah, the fact that she was able to get up under her own power is a good sign, but yeah, looking maybe at the left arm, I'm not sure. We'll try and monitor that as we go on. Hopefully it is just, yeah, a little impact injury and nothing more serious. How forgiving is this artificial surface here at the Grasshoppers Rugby Club?
Well, I haven't got off my feet yet, I don't think, so I can't really comment. But yeah, it is good. I think we've been playing a lot on 3G surfaces in the last few weeks with Windmill and various other things. So it does take a bit of a toll on the lower body and the back a little bit. But I think for being a rugby club, it's sort of designed to be relatively comfortable when you take some impact on the ground.
Yeah, I can imagine playing rugby on an artificial surface. Still, there's a bit of cognitive dissonance about it for me. It feels wrong, but obviously it works because more and more places are doing it, and it guarantees that you can actually get a game on all year round, which, given the weather we've had over the winter, is much appreciated. Zen's on the far sideline with the leader in space to Mondio in the power position. Finds Bath. They're trying to find the end zone shot, and Drucker times the cut well. Yaka that time just working it down the open side, and they'll take an 8-5 lead into the break. Crisp and clean offense there from Yaka Mag.
Yeah, I think there's not a lot you can do if the team is just making great cuts down the open side. I think it's just an individual battle that you need to win. You don't have any help from anywhere else, and I think it may just be a level of athleticism above the Gravity team, or just some tiredness creeping in from the weekend so far. I hope in the second half they can just find another gear and just try and put a little bit more pressure on those unders. And again, as I said earlier, just try and take a bit more risk that if the deep shot goes up, they can get underneath it and get some blocks there.
It's a Gravity side that has notched some good wins already this weekend, and it would not surprise me if they are able to make a game of this in the second half, although this is a very strong Yaka side. Going into half-time then, Yaka 8, Gravity 5, here at the London Invite.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
London Invite action, women's semi-final to kick off day 2 here. Yaka with an 8-5 half-time lead on Gravity. Gravity receiving to begin the second half. Benjamin Rees joined by Magnus Wilson for this one, and Yaka, I think, good value for this half-time advantage.
Yeah, I think it's just been a slight masterclass in offensive efficiency from Yaka that's really led to the difference. I think both teams are able to put some pressure on defense. I think it's just been a little bit on the unders from Yaka, really just being able to dominate those and forcing Gravity to taking the deep shot. I think Gravity have executed the deep shot very well, but I'd like to see them try to be a bit more versatile or find a way to create some more space in the unders. Maybe it's just taking those deep shots until Yaka decide to change their defense to be something that's less taking away the unders. But yeah, we'll just have to see what plan has been cooked up by Gravity for the second half.
Yeah, certainly the deep options are a kind of a trademark of Gravity's game, but you know, it's nice to not have to always go for that, and to have the ability to go for the less spectacular possessions. Pugh, under tight pressure there from Brinchal, cannot catch. Yaka get a break chance to just open up this advantage at the start of the second half. The Danish dynamo Kjær picks up. Back to Bath. Bocanegra zooms underneath. Yaka again working those break sides well now, redirecting the flow of traffic to Castillo. Castillo out into space. Bocanegra slides just to make sure. Trying to find a way to get it off the line. And just enough of a sell into the backfield to allow the upline space. And Bocanegra fires it in to Kjær to get Yaka on the board for the second half and a 9-5 lead. Evidently the slightly extended break did nothing to throw off their rhythm.
Yeah, Yaka continuing to play with very high tempo. There was only a couple of moments there where the disc stayed in the hand for more than a couple of seconds, and I think just that final throw into the front cone is where Gravity would like probably to be able to just put that a little bit more pressure on, just to stifle them there and try and trap them there. But as I said before, if someone just is a bit quicker than you and can beat you to that point, or you don't anticipate them and they get the jump on you, then it's very hard to help as a defender off the back into that front cone.
Yeah, Yaka have generated turns on 3/4 of Gravity's D points, and they've broken on Gravity's O points, I should say, and 4 perfect conversions for their D-line offense. That is that's pretty good going. That is definitely going to win you games. We've seen various sides struggle this weekend to kind of nail down the offense after the turn, but Yaka have not really seemed fazed by it at all. Gilherney to Pereira Slavets underneath. A little bit cluttered in the centre, and just tries to lay it off to Gilherney. Mondio picking up quickly. Now Zenz. Doesn't like the look of Meisel there. Bocanegra getting it wide. Yaka really do utilise the width of the field well. Castillo to Mondio. The American Drucker now. High release, and it just wouldn't quite sit long enough for Rasta to get underneath it. Gravity just firming up a little by their own end zone, and Gilherney ripping it, looking for Pugh. If it's got enough sit, she's going to get there, and it hangs immaculately. Can Pugh find the get off? She can. Back to Gilherney. It's always nice as a thrower when you can spank it long and then you collect the reset anyway. And then going back to Pugh, and it's too far. That's one she'll want back.
Yeah, definitely a wonderful huck, and then following your pass, getting it back and just a fairly low difficulty throw, just slightly pushed.
Sometimes it's the easy ones where you know that you should be hitting it, where just put a little bit of extra pressure on yourself because there's no reason to get it wrong. Mondio to Bocanegra. Castillo utilising a lot of throw and go to inject energy from the backfield. Babikian just sitting in that soft spot. And now Meisel down the far sideline is going to shoot and going to score with it as well to Drucker. And Drucker, quite rightly, pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, and some quite tired looking Gravity players now on the field from the O-line. I wonder if they'll send out some of the D-line here to try and stop the bleeding a little bit.
As someone who has played both ways during your career, at what point, you know, as a defender, are you chomping at the bit to get out there on the O-line, or as an O-line player, are you thinking, no, leave me out there, we're going to get it right?
I think it's hard. I think in various parts of my career, I would have been the first person trying to get on the line off the D-line to go and play. I think now I play on the GB D-line. I'm very happy that we've got a solid core of offensive players. We've got enough in that line that they can play a few points back to back, and we also have like a lot of great offensive players to go across as well. So I'm a bit more deferential on that front from a Great Britain perspective now. I
guess as well, you know, you'll have had these discussions in team meetings between your leadership group and, you know, in each kind of particular set of players as well, that you will know that, okay, if we get broken twice in a row, then we will put, you know, a swing line out there, or, you know, if a point takes a particularly long time, then yes, we will, you know, we'll switch things up a little bit. Maybe if we get on a D roll, we'll bring over an offensive player or two just to keep them sharp and in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's no right answer necessarily, as long as everyone's kind of on the same page about the expectations. Daly puts a name on it on this near sideline, and now opening it up down the centre of the field. Delaunay again with the little just tip round the corner further on just to make sure. Not quite sure she needed to. In that scenario, I'd probably favour, if you're right there, catching it and getting it back in play, but Yaka, I think, have generally been very comfortable making sure everyone's in position, going with the slower start. And this Yaka juggernaut continues to churn downfield. Munier. Now Bringel. Breaking central to Tisson. Out in front of Le Boyne. Le Boyne finds that inside window and jets it in there to Hia for the score. Yaka, I have to say, feels like they've kicked up a notch since the break, and this is what good sides have the ability to do.
Absolutely. I think, again, we've seen quite a few throws down the open side into the underspace there. I think Gravity, maybe the adjustment is to just try again to say, okay, I'm not going to get beaten into that spot, and use the fact that there's often a player who's taken their defender into the deep space, so if the shot goes up, there will likely be help. But yeah, I'd really like to see a bit more commitment to stopping the unders and forcing the huck.
Yeah, certainly we've seen how capable Gravity can be at receiving the hucks, and you feel like it stands to reason that they should be pretty good at defending them as well. We have seen them have success in that area too. I know it's not quite the same skill, but yeah.
I'm also feeling a little bit of wind starting up here at Grasshoppers.
I was thinking that. It's a lovely facility. Obviously, we're on the artificial surface here all weekend, but we have the 3 grass pitches behind, and I have heard nothing but good reports on them for the 3 years we've been here. yeah, the staff and the crew at Grasshoppers are very hospitable as well, and it's nice to be able to come back for the 3rd year running. Pugh with Babikian and coverage. That's a good matchup, that one. Smith trying to find a way to get it off the line. Bit of arc on that one into the centre, but Kavanagh set herself well, and Kavanagh shooting for the back of the end zone for Sonia Pereira-Slavets. And Gravity on the board in this second half. Still with a lot of work to do, but it's a good start to finally kind of get yourself settled after the interval.
Yeah, Gravity doing some unconventional things and really making them work. And yeah, fair play. If you can get that around throw up the line out, it's very hard for the defender to get anywhere near it. And then you're in the break side, can throw that fairly straightforward huck down the break side to the back of the end zone.
It feels like for lefties, you think about the inside backhand generally being more of a threat than the kind of the outside roll curver, but obviously I can't really speak from experience as someone who is barely capable with my right hand, let alone my left, but you have that inherent cheating advantage.
Yeah, it is a bit of a cheat code, and I think it does make breaking the mark a lot easier in general. Just the way people set up, it tends to be how they would to a right-hander. You do see the odd defender who is smart enough and switched on enough in the moment to make that adjustment in the game, but often you'll find people setting up in slightly the wrong position, and yeah, you can step out a lot further on that backhand to get it around and around up the line there.
I mean, how often do you hear sides say, well, force forehand and force backhand? It's like, that doesn't work quite so well when you're coming up against a left-hander, because obviously it's not quite what you expect.
Fantastic deep shot down the middle of the field there.
Oh, wow, that is a beauty. Spraying it straight down the fairway, and here to Matthias makes it 12-6. You wanted Yaka to see, try and open things up a little bit more, see if Gravity could get blocks on them. You're not getting a block on that. I mean, from that far sideline, she made this throw look, I think, a lot easier than it was. It's an absolute thing of beauty.
Yeah, I wouldn't be trying that, but I don't throw at that level. So yeah, I think with the space there, it's if you've got the shot, it's very low risk actually.
Yeah, the shooting slightly away, of course, on that far sideline, so into the kind of the central third of the field, utilising the outside in trajectory on that backhand to cut it back into the path of Matthias. Who again, aiming that deep cut nice and straight, so it gives the throw a huge amount of angle to work with. I was always taught, you cut under at an angle and then you cut deep straight. I think just to try and create those wider margins to hit. Gravity just about sneaking it through the inside window to Pugh. Pugh now to Pereira-Slavets. That one gobbled up by Castillo. And now Castillo marshalling the offense on the turn. Gravity maybe not expecting the jack, but it's Castillo. That throw can go at any moment. A slightly unconventional look, but a bit of inside-out backhand. And Drucker believes she is not worthy as Babikian gathers on the second attempt. And Yaka accelerating to the finish line, 2 away from victory.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying Castillo's tempo, taking the first throw irrespective really of the direction of it, and it's just leaving the Gravity defense scrambling. The shot at the end, I think maybe I would want that to be holstered and try to just keep the tempo, but great work by Babikian to reel that in on the second effort. Yeah, I imagine she thought that there was going to be a tip from the defender there.
I will say that I wouldn't have thrown it, but you play with Castillo long enough, you know that throw is is hot, that is live. There's always a good chance that it might come, and Babikian was ready for it in the end. It's like a timeout here on the field. Yaka looking to book their final place. They've got a 13-6 lead over Dublin Gravity.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
The London Invite. Picture perfect conditions here on this Sunday morning at the Grasshoppers Rugby Club in Osterley, West London. Benji Rees and Magnus Wilson with you for this women's semi-final. Yaka 13-6 over Gravity. It was relatively tight at the half, but Yaka have really sped away in the second period. Which I think says a lot about kind of who they are as a side, that they have, you could say, I think, maybe that they've clappened them slightly, where it's close in the first half, and in the second half they've still got those extra gears to go into. Gilheeney again, one of those signature scubas. So I'm popping the hammer into space. Pugh wanting to go back to Gilheeney. Scubaing once more for Reyes-Levets. Breaking but around with the backhand. Kavanagh doing really well to lay out to secure it. And now Gilheeney is going to adjust. Tipped. And it's to the floor. Must say, I get why Yaka putting out the zone, trying something different, but when it's relatively still, I'm not sure I'd want to be allowing Gilheeney time to pick her pass.
Yeah, maybe you just want to get it out of Gilheeney's hands and into somebody else. Give something easy away to the best throwers.
Yeah, Brinjel into double coverage and Pugh rips it away. Down line to Sutherland. Pugh clearing through. Match on the turn for Yaka's defense. A floater, that should be Le Boyne's. Maybe the slightest suggestion of a touch to the floor.
Get your position,
Nanu's going to pick up. Looking a bit isolated with the stall count getting high, finds the swing. Bit more of a piecemeal possession so far for Yaka. Not really had that flow and that continuation. Little dishy down the line. Matias looking to clear through once more, but no. The break doesn't go either on the high, still shooting all the way across the field. And had to give something an opportunity. But it wasn't there in the end.
Yeah, Gravity doing a great job just fixing them onto the sideline there, and the high difficulty throw had to go up.
Good work from Pugh on the full, stopping the reset from going. Looking like with the slow turn, Yaka going to get the zone set up. I don't know whether they have it in the locker, but I wonder if at some point you think about going on with an and one and just maybe leaving Gilheeney sighted, or maybe you say, you know, we're going to make you put enough of those up that we trust that we'll get the error out of you eventually. Delaval pumping the backhand. Going with it again at the second time of asking. Matthias is not going to be quite into the end zone. Delaval wants the reset and gets it, hands firmly underneath. The break is going to float and signalled in for the score.
Yeah, really good feet there from the Yaka player.
I was a bit nervy at first, but
yeah, I think it was very close, and excellent spirit showed by Gravity there, just to call it in and give the goal without too much discussion.
Yeah, we have the wonderful benefit of replay. That I feel like that right foot hasn't yet come down by the time Yar secures the catch. She's had a big impact in the game, bearing a lot of the handling load, a few turnovers, but a couple of assists and 3 goals for Rika Kjarknudsen, which is pretty good going. Jean Delaval with 2 assists and a goal to her name as well. So you're seeing some of these big players for Yaka, their impact borne out on the stat sheet, which is not always the case, because you look at it sometimes and you feel like players have a really big impact, but it doesn't show up on the stat line, and other players who it feels like then maybe a bit more of a peripheral figure, and then you look at the way you look at the stats afterwards and it feels like they were a key part of the game plan. Kind of look at the film a little bit more closely to get a true reflection of how it all looks. Yaka 1 away from the win then. They'd love to finish it on defense here. Flynn. Gravity opening up their lines a little bit more at the end of the game. Flynn going back. Ooh, spicy one that Pichot snags. Gravity struggling a little bit for downfield movement. It pops up and Bas gets underneath it, but it still finds its way into Spenlov's grasp anyway. Popped up again, Babikian applies enough pressure to get the turn. Bas isn't going to hang around. Picking up, ripping it all the way across the field. Looking the away shot to Meisel was just too much.
I love to see that look as a spectator. It's a high difficulty, challenging throw. Not quite coming off this time.
I mean, had it come off, it would have been magnificent, and I love the endeavour from Bas to give it a go. Gravity again, maybe struggling to get the disc downfield. Might get a bit of continuation here, but again, Yaka able to firm up. Merchant. Looking for a bit of throw and go movement to create that first step separation.
Quite a few Gravity cutters really in the deep space here, which is going to make throwing the deep shot quite difficult.
And we've seen how successful the deep shots have been at points for Gravity, so it's important that they keep that deep space clear. Taking the poached off swing.
Great grab.
Did really well because you could hear, or even through our headphones, just quite how hard that hit. This time though, run through and burgled away. Mondio choosing to take the timeout because, well, you can't take them with you when the game's over, so using the opportunity to have a breather, get something drawn up, and finish it on a high. I don't know if they necessarily needed to call the timeout here, but it's always good practice, I think, to get into the rhythm of, okay, if we take timeouts during the points, how are we setting them up? How are we making sure that we're not getting bogged down off the restart?
Yeah, and in a game like this where you have ran away with it a little bit, sometimes you focus on how would we play this point if we were at 14-13 or let's use it in a professional way to get something out of it for our preparation. I think maybe if this was a tight game, you might be taking a timeout there just to try and draw something up and give yourself the best possible chance of scoring. So it's good to practice that.
Yeah, so often you see teams struggle to bring the disc in off timeouts, and we've had various discussions over the years about why particularly that is. I think part of it is that compared to bringing the disc in off a turn, that you can't move before the stall count start and before the disc is checked in. So often it's a good couple of seconds of the stall count just to get everyone in motion downfield. And so I quite like, actually, rather than, maybe you've got 1-2 beats of looking for a more aggressive option, then just getting the disc resetting, keeping those stall counts ticking over while there's a bit more dynamism downfield.
Yeah, I think if you've got someone like Mondio on the disc, quality handler, I'm fairly comfortable with the timeout call. I think they'll be able to unlock something and get the disc moving, and then you're back into that sort of flow opportunity. I think if it was someone, if it was a weaker thrower, someone who's not so accustomed to having the disc, then I think let's at least try and move it into a position where we're in the center of the field, we've got a great thrower on the disc before we consider taking that timeout.
I feel like the internal clock as well has to be a little bit faster coming off the timeout.
Yeah, absolutely. You're looking for one option really, and then you're saying, okay, I want Bass up the line, or I want to run this shape to get a reset off.
I mean, it's so easy to this is the play we draw up, we're committing to going for it, and you need to know when to actually to bail out on that plan. As the high release over the top just teased in Zenz, and the curse of the turnout has bitten Yaka.
I think that's my first piece of commentator's curse that I've had, so I'm glad to
welcome to the club.
Get into that.
You're one of us now. That one, the dismissive point block from Zenz, just jogs away as if nothing happened. Bocanegra to the end zone, gonna find Zenz for the bookends, and Yaka will punch their final berth with a 15-6 victory.
Yeah, quite one-sided in the end, but I think Gravity can take quite a lot of positives from that, and I'm looking forward to seeing them later in the season once they've ironed out a few of the issues that they had. I think the skill level is not a long way off where Yaka are. I think it's just more of a systems issue, and the quality of Yaka just with that defensive efficiency once they got the turns was the difference really.
And both of these sides kind of approaching this game in this tournament with slightly different goals. Thinking about, for Yaka again, they're just kind of full speed ahead all the way through the season. But with Gravity, this isn't an EUCS event for them. They're not necessarily at a full roster, so they're thinking about which players are we putting into which roles here. How will we kind of balancing out who's doing what, building towards the end of the season. And then there comes a point where, you have to get those EUCS games in, of course. But for them, that point is not necessarily quite there yet. They've still got time to make those adjustments before hopefully qualifying for EUCF at the end of the season. I'm just going to have a look at which summer tour they are going to be going to. Now, if I can give it a scan. Whoop! What was that? Sorry, just a bang came through the headphones a little bit. I'm going to assume that everything's okay. They're going to be in Malmo in the first weekend of August, alongside Spice, Seagulls, Smog, Atletico, Aarhus, Malmo, and Copenhagen Hucks. And they might be looking at that tournament and thinking, okay, we back ourselves to snatch one of those wildcard berths there.
Absolutely, yeah. The wildcards make all of those tournaments very exciting. There's everything to play for, both in terms of ranking points and also to ultimately win and book your spot at EUCF.
Yeah, so that'll wrap it up for this game. Yaka have got their final place sealed up. Who will they be playing, LMU or Bristol? That game is just wrapping up behind us, and we shall update you accordingly. We'll go into the mixed division action next. We have Great Britain taking on Deep Space in just about 10 minutes time. Mag, have you found your first go?
I really enjoyed it. Thank you for coaching me through it, Benji, and filling in all the space. You're an absolute pro, and thanks to everyone at Ulti TV for your continued work and great support of Ultimate and showing all of the top level in Europe every year. It's amazing. Thank you.
It's you know, wouldn't want to be anywhere else unless my partner's listening, in which case I'd rather be in a hole in Wales with lots of cats. But otherwise, yeah, glorious weather. Where would you rather be than here at the London Invite or watching live and free on Ulti TV's YouTube channel? Final score here then is going to be Yaka 15, Gravity 6, and we will see Yaka in the women's final.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, Milan. I mean, Ultimate.
Ulti.tv.